I want to talk about this Peak Design Everyday Backpack 20 liter just for a few minutes. There's a lot of detailed reviews out there already, so I don't want to, get into all the nitty gritty. There's plenty of reviews where you can see all the ins and outs of this bag, but I just want to talk about how it worked out for me on a business trip, and I took my camera and a laptop. So just speaking of the laptop real quick, I'll go over the laptop slot. And this is a Dell 7480 Latitude. It's a 14-inch business laptop. I believe they said you can only put a 13 in here, 13-inch laptop, but it does fit down in there pretty easily. It gets a little snug only if you have the inside of the backpack loaded up really well, because then the material that expands to allow the laptop to fit in there, you have to push on that to get it in. So on the sides, let me open this up here real quick, and you can see down in here, this area kind of expands up when you push the laptop in. So if you have a lot of stuff in here, that's going to kind of get a little tight in there with that. One of the things I didn't really like too well about it is, you see how this is not really flat on the bottom, so you can't really stand it up and let it stand on its own. It just wants to fall over, so you have to lean it against something. Excuse me. So that's one of the only issues that with the bag that I see, that I wish they would change that to make it more flat on the bottom. So first of all, it would give you a little more room here and make this compartment easier to load, because cameras, are not designed at an angle. They're obviously, kind of like blocky. And if you just put a lens in there, which is what I ended up doing, put my 28-300 Nikon with the FTZ adapter in there. So kind of position the dividers, left that one on the bottom, at the very bottom, put that down there, and my camera actually went up here, and I'll explain that in just a minute. The center divider, I just kind of positioned that to where it touches the top divider. So when you have that flap up there and something in the middle, to hold things in, it's not going to slide around and come out. So I put some chargers, like probably the power adapter and the cord for my laptop in there, and a charger for the camera I think was in the middle, things like that. So the camera, the Nikon Z7, which I'm recording with now, I had that in the very top, and what I did was I put this little cover for the camera. It just fits the camera perfectly if you have the 24-70 on there, and the body. So what I ended up doing was putting that in sideways, and that fit just right. And then I would have a few of these headset Neoprene covers, with some cables and miscellaneous things in there, chargers or whatever for the phone. I put those on top of the camera. And the reason I did that was just because it didn't work out really well to have the camera in the bottom. It was kind of hard to get out and jam it in there. If you need quick access to it, you'd probably want to organize it where you can have it in the side somewhere. But for me, I just had it zipped up, and anytime I need the camera, I only get it out when I'm using it, so this was just kind of for transport and storage. But once I get somewhere where I'm going to be taking pictures, I'm just going to have it out anyway. So there's way more space than I need in there. For the camera on its side, with the bottom against the back of the backpack, and then, like I said, have these little neoprene covers sitting on top of it, just to have everything in there as organized as well as I could, and keep it as compact as I could. And when I had all that in there, I think I was mostly on this bottom rung. It was a little bit snug, sometimes up on this one here. So you're really not expanded much at all. I like the side handles, top handle, another side handle here. These compartments here on the side, you do kind of run into a situation where when you're pulling something out, if you put something in there, you've got these other straps in there that they use to go across the outside of the bag to strap things on. Sometimes those will come out when you're grabbing things, so that's kind of a little bit annoying. Otherwise, the functionality of the bag, I think, unless you have a lot of gear and it's tied already in the traditional type of backpack you have. You know, the where you have the top that totally opens or the back that totally opens, and you have just this space that's all the same height, and you know, not at any weird angles or anything. You just kind of adjust your dividers the way you want to. You kind of have to be careful buying this because you might find out that you don't have enough room. Again, just partly because of the way the bag is shaped, you know, the backpack, and just the fact that you have to get to everything from the side except for the top part. And you know, for me, for what I need it for, I think it worked out really well. I had everything I needed for that 12-day business trip, and I would not normally take my laptop with me, so this would normally just all be camera gear, so I could have my camera in there very easily. You know, my longer lens, and then the smaller lens on the side maybe, and some chargers and miscellaneous items in each side pocket. Yeah, and I think that would be plenty, but how that worked out for me on that trip I think was really well. But again, I just wanted to mention, you know, the space that's in here, and how everything's organized. You really kind of have to be careful coming from a traditional backpack and trying to fit everything in this one, because it may turn out it doesn't fit the same. And you know, again, with this angle on the bottom and up here, you know, you've got a lot of extra space up here. But the problem is, you know, this is totally open. Once you kind of get it open like that and you expand it, then these sides, there's nothing stopping something from kind of working its way out of the side, depending on what you put in there. So while you do have a lot of space, you may find that you just can't organize it as you could in a different type of backpack, a more traditional backpack. So just something to keep in mind when you buy it. But if you're okay with the space that it does have, and the way that you have to arrange it because of the style of backpack it is, then you know, it's totally fine. But so that's my thoughts on it. I didn't want to go too far into it because there's plenty of reviews out there, but I just wanted to explain how that worked out for me with my trip. So I had the Z7 with the 24-70, the 28-300 with the FTZ adapter, a couple of those neoprene cases, the 14-inch laptop, the charger and the cord for the laptop, charger for the battery for the camera, extra battery on the camera, some other miscellaneous items, but that's about it. And that's really all I've got to say about it, and thanks for watching.